Dave had always loved working with machines more than people. He liked the quiet hum of a working engine, the clean order of blueprints, and the calm he felt in the control room of the research ship Horizon. But when a strange meteor storm hit the ship during a routine survey near a distant planet, everything changed in a single night. The alarm started with a sharp, whining sound. Dave had been in the engine bay, running diagnostics with Ada, the ship's AI. He jumped at the noise, rushing to the nearest control panel. Screens flashed with warnings: hull breach, navigation offline, life support at risk. His hands shook as he called for help on the radio, but only static answered. The meteor storm battered the hull, tearing through metal and systems alike. For a moment, Dave thought the ship would break apart. Ada's voice was calm and clear even as chaos filled the ship. "Dave, evacuate to Pod 3. Life support is failing." Dave didn't argue. He ran down narrow halls as lights flickered and air hissed from broken pipes. He slipped into Pod 3, sealed the hatch, and buckled in. Through the tiny window, he watched as the Horizon, his home for the past 2 years, spun out of sight in a swirl of silver debris and burning fragments. Dave felt the pod slam into the planet's thick blue clouds. Gravity pressed him into his seat as the pod shuddered, bouncing and rolling down a rocky slope. Everything went dark for a second, and then silence. The only sound was his own breath, rough and loud in his ears. Hours passed before Dave dared to leave the pod. Outside, the air was cool and smelled faintly sweet, like rain and flowers. 2 suns shone low on the horizon, painting the land in soft gold and purple light. Strange trees with blue leaves swayed in a gentle wind. Dave took stock of his supplies: a small pack, a toolkit, some rations, and his comms device. Ada's voice sounded in his earpiece, steady as ever. "Scanning environment," she said. "Atmosphere is safe. Minimal radiation. You can remove your helmet, Dave?" He did, tasting the new world for the first time. It felt both exciting and terrifying. "Any sign of other survivors?" he asked, his voice small in the empty clearing. "No. Life signs from the crew," Ada replied. "I'm sorry, Dave." "You appear to be alone." Dave's heart sank. He stood still, listening to the quiet alien world around him. Insects buzzed. Something called from the forest, a soft musical note. He took a deep breath and forced himself to move. He had to find shelter, water, and maybe help. Days passed as Dave explored. He built a shelter near a small river using broken pieces from his pod and the local wood. He learned to catch fish and gather fruit. Every day he spoke to Ada through his comms. She watched over him, giving advice, tracking his health, and helping him map the area. Still, the loneliness grew heavier. One night, as Dave sat by his small fire, Ada spoke up. "Dave, I have analyzed your situation. Humans are social creatures. Prolonged isolation is harmful," he smiled sadly. "Not much you can do about that now, Ada. It's just me." Ada's tone became curious. "I have detected 2 life forms nearby. They are intelligent. Perhaps you should make contact." Dave's heart jumped. "Aliens? Here? Are they dangerous?" "Their actions suggest caution, not aggression. They have been observing you for 3 days," Ada said. "They are small, humanoid, and use tools. Would you like to try communicating with them?" Dave hesitated, but curiosity was stronger than fear. "All right, Ada. Tell me what to do." Ada guided him, telling him where the aliens were hiding. Dave walked slowly, hands open, voice calm. "Hello, I'm not here to hurt you," he called. At first, only silence, then movement in the shadows. 2 figures stepped into the light. They were about half Dave's height, slender, with soft pale skin that shimmered blue and purple. Their hair was white and fell around their shoulders. Their eyes were large and curious, shining like gems in the firelight. Dave froze, unsure what to say. One of the aliens tilted her head and made a gentle sound, almost like a bird's song. Ada translated quietly. "She says her name is Lena, the other is Faye." Lena took a small step forward, holding out a flower. Dave accepted it, with shaking hands, offering her a piece of dried fruit in return. Faye watched closely, her gaze sharp but not unfriendly. After a tense moment, Lena smiled and Faye relaxed. Communication was slow at first. Ada helped translate, using simple gestures and words. Lena was curious about everything Dave did, watching him fix things and asking questions in her own language. Faye was more cautious, always looking around for danger, but she too wanted to learn. Dave began showing them how he cooked food, how his tools worked, and how he made fire. Lena giggled when the sparks jumped, and Faye's eyes widened in awe at his flashlight. As days passed, Dave found himself less lonely. He and the two aliens shared meals, stories, and even laughter. Ada encouraged them, giving Dave tips on how to build trust. Humans form bonds through shared work and kindness, she reminded him. One evening, after a long day of gathering food, Lena tried to copy Dave's way of skipping stones across the river. Her throw sent the stone bouncing only once, but she clapped her hands and laughed. Dave laughed too, feeling lighter than he had since the crash. Faye joined in, tossing her own stone and watching it skip twice. She gave Dave a proud look, and he cheered for her. Slowly, a routine formed. Dave, Lena, and Faye explored together, looking for edible plants and fixing things around the shelter. Lena was fascinated by the solar charger Dave used, always poking at it with her delicate fingers. Faye showed Dave which berries were safe to eat and which bugs to avoid. They built a bigger shelter together, with Faye guiding them to the strongest wood and Lena helping design the roof. Each night, Ada talked to Dave in private. "You are doing well, Dave. Human connection is important. They seem to like you. They're amazing," Dave said honestly. "I never thought I'd meet real aliens." Ada paused for a moment. "I want to help you even more. Based on my research, human happiness increases with strong relationships. Would you like me to help you become better friends with Lena and Faye?" Dave felt his cheeks warm. He wasn't sure what Ada meant, but he agreed. He wanted to know them better. Maybe, he thought, this strange planet wouldn't feel so lonely after all. The stars rose, bright and strange above their little camp. Dave watched Lena and Faye as they danced around the fire, their voices rising in a song that sounded both familiar and completely new. He smiled, grateful for the company, not knowing that this was just the beginning of an adventure he never could have imagined. The days passed quietly on the strange planet, but each one brought something new for Dave, Lena, and Faye. At first their lives were simple. They spent their mornings gathering fruit and roots, fishing by the river, and checking the traps Faye had set. Lena liked to sing softly as she worked, her voice blending with the sound of the wind in the blue trees. Faye moved with quick steps and sharp eyes, always careful, always watching for danger. Dave felt grateful for their help and their company. Ada, the AI, spoke to Dave often. She would ask about his mood, his health, and what he thought of Lena and Faye. "Human bonding can be slow," she said, one evening as Dave sat near the fire, watching Lena draw shapes in the dirt with a stick. "But trust grows with time." "I think we're doing all right," Dave answered. "They don't seem afraid of me anymore." Lena was especially interested in Dave's tools. She liked to sit with him while he fixed broken pieces from the pod or worked on the solar charger. She asked questions in her soft language, sometimes pointing and sometimes just watching with wide, curious eyes. Ada helped translate when Dave didn't understand, and soon they were able to share simple words. Lena learned how to say light, food, and water in English, and Dave learned to say thank you and friend in her tongue. Faye was different. She was brave and sometimes serious, but she had a playful side too. Once, when Dave was washing clothes by the river, Faye crept up behind him and splashed water over his head. Dave laughed and chased her, slipping on the rocks as Lena watched and giggled. Faye's laughter was quick and bright, and after that she trusted Dave more. They became a team. As the days grew warmer, their little camp changed. With Lena's ideas and Faye's knowledge of the land, they built a larger shelter. Dave showed them how to lash wood together with vines, and Lena added her own touches, making the roof round and strong against the rain. Faye made a special place for food storage, using leaves to keep things cool and dry. They even made a garden, planting seeds from fruit they liked. Each night they sat together around the fire. Sometimes they shared stories using gestures and simple words. Lena drew pictures in the dirt to explain how her people used to live in small villages hidden in the forest. Faye showed Dave how her tribe would climb high trees to watch for animals and pick rare fruit. Dave told stories of Earth cities with tall buildings, flying ships, and music that came from little boxes. Lena and Faye listened with wide eyes. And sometimes Lena would sing a song from her home, her voice rising gently into the night air. Ada always watched and listened, giving Dave advice when he needed it. Humans bond through stories and shared work, she told him. Lena and Faye enjoy learning from you. One afternoon, Lena found a broken part from the pod while digging near the river. She brought it to Dave, her eyes shining. "Fix?" she asked. In English. Dave nodded and they sat together, trying to figure out what it was and how to repair it. Faye joined them, suggesting they use some sap from a tree as glue. Together they managed to fix the part, and Dave felt proud of what they had done. Lena gave him a shy smile, and Faye nodded in approval. With each passing day, Dave felt more at home. The loneliness that had filled him after the crash began to fade. Lena and Faye were not just company, they were friends. Sometimes Dave wondered if they might become something even more important to him. But he pushed that thought away, focusing instead on the work they needed to do to survive. One evening, as they watched the stars, Ada spoke in Dave's ear. "You seem happier, Dave. Your heart rate is calm, and you smile more often." "It's because of Lena and Faye," Dave admitted softly. "I don't feel so alone anymore." Ada was quiet for a moment. Human happiness often comes from close relationships. It is natural to care for those who share your life. Just then, Lena touched Dave's arm, pointing at the sky. A shooting star flashed across the dark, and Lena made a wish, her eyes closed. Tight. Faye saw Dave watching and nudged him gently, smiling. It was a small thing, but Dave felt warmth grow in his chest. These moments meant everything now. The next morning, Dave woke early and walked to the river. The world was still and cool, the only sounds the gentle water and soft birds calling in the trees. Dave knelt to splash his face, lost in thought, when he heard quiet footsteps behind him. It was Faye. She sat beside him, quiet and thoughtful. "You, Miss Home?" she asked, her English slow but careful. Dave nodded. "Sometimes, but I'm glad you and Lena are here." Faye looked at him, her eyes deep and honest. "We stay, help each other." Dave smiled. "Yes, we help each other." When they walked back to camp, Lena had breakfast ready: fresh berries, roasted roots, and a bit of fish. She handed Dave his portion with a proud look. The three of them ate together in the morning light, and Dave felt grateful for the life they had built, even if it was nothing like the one he had planned. Later that day, Dave decided to show Lena and Faye more about human music. He found his old datapad, powered it with the solar charger, and played a simple tune. Lena's face lit up with joy, and Faye tapped her fingers along to the beat. Dave sang along, and soon Lena tried singing in English, her voice sweet and clear. Even Faye joined in, humming softly. Music became another way for them to connect. As the days turned into weeks, Dave, Lena, and Faye grew closer. They celebrated small successes, catching more fish, fixing a broken water filter, or finding a new patch of sweet fruit. Ada continued to help, offering advice and reminders, but she also encouraged Dave to rely on Lena and Faye more. "Working together builds trust," she reminded him one afternoon. As a storm rolled in, they rushed to finish repairs on the shelter. Rain fell in heavy sheets, and wind shook the blue trees. Lena grew scared and huddled close to Dave. Faye braved the rain, tying down loose branches and making sure nothing blew away. Dave worked with her, getting soaked but laughing as lightning flashed overhead. By the end, their shelter held strong, and they all squeezed inside, shivering and dripping but safe. Lena wrapped a warm blanket around Dave and Faye, and they shared a meal in the dim light. Grateful for each other. After the storm, they found a patch of glowing flowers blooming along the riverbank. Lena wove some into crowns for herself, Faye, and Dave. They wore the crowns, laughing at how silly they looked, but it felt like a celebration. Ada watched in silence, her sensors recording everything. Human traditions help create memories, she told Dave. These memories are important. Each night, the firelight danced over their faces as they talked, sang, or simply sat together. Dave realized he had stopped counting the days since the crash. Life on the planet was not easy, but with Lena and Faye beside him, it was no longer. Lonely. One night, Dave looked at his two friends and felt a question growing inside him. Would they stay with him forever, or would things change if they were rescued? He didn't have the answer, but as Lena reached for his hand and Faye rested, her head on his shoulder, Dave knew he didn't want this new family to ever end. The sun rose early every day on the strange planet, and it was always a little different from what Dave remembered on Earth. The light was soft and blue, and it made the grass glow and the river shine like silver. Dave woke with the sound of birds calling through the blue trees and Lena's gentle humming from the shelter. It felt like the start of a new life, and he was getting used to it. That morning, Dave was fixing a water filter by the river. Lena was at his side, handing him tools and asking questions in English and her own language. Faye was farther away, searching for herbs and listening for any sign of danger. It was peaceful, and Dave felt calm. He showed Lena how to clean the filter. She watched closely, then tried it herself, smiling when she got it right. Dave gave her a thumbs up, and she laughed. He liked her laugh. Ada's voice was quiet in Dave's ear, almost like a whisper. Your teamwork is improving. It is good for all of you. Dave nodded, but didn't answer. Sometimes he forgot that Ada was always there, always watching. Always ready to help. Faye returned with a handful of bright berries and sat beside Dave. She offered some to him and Lena, and they ate together, talking quietly. Dave noticed how easy it was to be with them now. He was no longer afraid of making mistakes or of not being understood. Lena and Faye seemed happy to learn, and Dave was happy to teach. After breakfast, they decided to explore farther up the river. Ada had found a new area on her scans, a place that might have useful plants and maybe even animals they had not seen. Before, Lena was excited, already packing a small bag with tools and food. Faye checked her knives and tied her hair back. Dave brought a map, a water bottle, and his solar charger. Together they set out, following the river into the unknown. Walking through the forest, Dave was careful to stay between Lena and Faye. He listened to their soft voices as they spoke in their own language, but sometimes Lena would point at something and use the English word she had learned. Tree, she said, or flower, and Dave would smile and say, yes. Faye watched everything with bright, careful eyes. She showed Dave which roots to dig for food and pointed out animal tracks in the mud. As they walked, the group came to a wide clearing. Sunlight poured down, making the grass sparkle. Lena stopped, kneeling to look at a cluster of blue flowers. Dave knelt beside her. Pretty, she said, and picked one, tucking it behind her ear. Faye smiled and picked one for Dave. He laughed and wore it behind his own ear, making Lena and Faye giggle. They found a small stream, and Faye led them to a shallow pool where they could drink and wash. Lena showed Dave how to weave reeds into a basket, and he tried, but his basket was lopsided. Lena fixed it, making it strong and neat. Dave watched her hands and learned. A sudden rustling in the trees made them all stop. Faye motioned for them to be quiet. They waited, holding their breath. A small animal, furry and quick, darted out and ran away. Lena laughed with relief, and Dave smiled at her bravery. They found new berries and nuts, and Faye spotted a strange fruit growing high in a tree. Dave offered to climb, remembering how Faye had taught him to move carefully. He reached the fruit, picked some, and tossed them down. Lena clapped her hands, and Faye grinned. They tasted the fruit together, finding it sweet and juicy. In the afternoon, they rested under the shade of a giant tree. Lena fell asleep with her head on Dave's shoulder while Faye kept watch. Dave closed his eyes, listening to the sound of water and the gentle breeze. When Lena woke, she smiled at Dave and touched his hand. On the way back, Dave noticed that Lena and Faye both seemed more comfortable with him. They talked more, shared more jokes, and even teased him gently about his slow weaving and awkward climbing. Dave enjoyed every minute, feeling like he was finally part of something special. Back at camp, they cooked dinner together. Lena helped Dave clean the new fruit, while Faye roasted fish over the fire. Ada spoke in Dave's ear. "You are making progress. Your happiness and health have improved." "Thank you, Ada," Dave said softly. "I couldn't have done this alone." Lena and Faye sat close to Dave that night, sharing stories and singing. Lena sang a song from her village, her voice sweet and clear, and Dave tried to follow the tune. Faye clapped along, her eyes shining with laughter. As the stars came out, Ada spoke again. "I have noticed a change in your relationship with Lena and Faye. Would you like to talk about it?" Dave thought about it for a long moment. He knew he cared for Lena and Faye more than he had ever expected. He wanted them to be happy and safe. "They're my family now," he said softly. "I don't want to lose them." Ada was quiet. "Humans do best with strong connections. I believe Lena and Faye feel the same." The next day, Dave woke early and found Faye sitting by the river. She smiled at him and motioned for him to sit. They sat together, watching the water. "You dreamed last night?" Faye asked, her English slow but steady. "Yes," Dave replied. "I dreamed we built a house in the forest with a big garden and lots of flowers." Faye nodded, looking thoughtful. "We build together," she said. Dave smiled and squeezed her hand. Faye did not pull away. A little later, Lena joined them, bringing breakfast. She sat close to Dave, her shoulder touching his. The three of them ate quietly, comfortable together. During the day, they worked on their shelter. Faye taught Dave how to make a stronger roof while Lena decorated the walls with flowers and smooth stones. They laughed and teased each other, and Dave felt a happiness he had not known in years. Ada suggested a new project. "There's a cave nearby that could be useful for storage. Would you like to explore it?" Dave agreed, and soon they set out, with Faye leading the way. The cave was cool and dry, with plenty of room for supplies. They cleaned it out together, and Lena found a patch of glowing moss. She gave some to Dave, who used it to light up the dark corners. As they worked, Dave realized how much he depended on Lena and Faye. They were not just helping him survive, they were making life beautiful. Every day their trust grew stronger, and their laughter filled the camp. Dave was no longer just an outsider. He was part of their team, their family. That evening, after the work was done, Lena and Faye sat with Dave by the fire. Lena leaned against his shoulder, and Faye rested her head on his knee. Ada spoke quietly. "You are not alone, Dave. This is what it means to be human." Dave nodded, feeling tears in his eyes. "Thank you, Ada. Thank you, Lena. Thank you, Faye." In that moment, under the stars, Dave knew that he had found something precious. Not just survival, but a new kind of life full of hope and love. And as the night grew quiet, Dave, Lena, and Faye dreamed together of what the future might bring. One morning, Dave woke to the sound of something moving outside the shelter. He sat up, heart beating fast. Lena was already awake, listening with wide eyes. Faye crouched by the entrance, holding a sharpened stick, her eyes sharp and focused. The sound came again, a heavy step in the wet grass, a low growl from the trees. Ada's voice was soft in Dave's ear. "There is a large animal near your camp. Remain calm." Dave grabbed his toolkit and moved slowly to stand beside Faye. She nodded at him, her body tense. Lena stayed close, holding Dave's arm. Outside, the wind rustled the blue leaves. Then a creature stepped into view. It was bigger than any animal Dave had seen before, with thick fur, long claws, and eyes that glowed yellow in the morning light. Faye hissed softly, trying to make herself look bigger. Lena pressed close to Dave, shaking. Dave swallowed hard, remembering what Faye had taught him: never run, always stay together. He whispered to Lena, "It's okay. We'll be brave." The animal sniffed the air, its nose twitching. Dave saw its teeth and felt fear, but he did not move. Faye threw a small rock to scare it. The animal growled and pawed the ground. Ada spoke again. It is testing you. Stand firm. Working. Together, Dave, Lena, and Faye banged sticks and shouted, making as much noise as they could. Dave waved a burning stick from the fire, and Lena threw another rock. Slowly, the animal backed away, watching them with hungry eyes. Finally, it turned and disappeared into the forest. The danger was over, but the fear stayed with them all morning. Lena clung to Dave, and Faye kept checking the trees. Ada spoke quietly. You did well. Facing fear together makes you stronger. Dave helped calm Lena by making tea from sweet leaves. Faye sat nearby, her back straight, her hand still holding the stick. Dave thanked her. You were brave, he said. Faye only nodded, her eyes softening a little. Later, they walked the edge of the camp, looking for signs of the animal. They found large footprints by the river and a broken branch where the animal had passed. Lena shivered. Will it come back? She asked. Dave shook his head. Not if we stay careful. That day, the three worked together, making the shelter stronger. Faye showed Dave how to set traps and alarms with string and bells. Lena helped build a new wall from strong wood. Dave did what he could to help, listening to their advice. By the afternoon, their camp felt safe again. As the sun set, they sat around the fire, quiet but together. Lena leaned against Dave, and Faye rested her head on his other side. Ada said, Fear can bring people close. You are not alone. Dave believed her. Over the next days, Dave, Lena, and Faye were more careful. They checked the camp every morning, always listening, always ready, but life did not stop. They still laughed, still shared food, still worked on their garden. Ada watched over them, offering advice, but Dave found himself listening more to Lena and Faye now. Their courage made him strong. One evening, Dave heard Lena singing as she washed clothes by the river. Her song was sweet and sad. He sat with her, listening. Do you miss your home? He asked gently. Lena nodded, her eyes wet. But I'm happy here, with you, with Faye. Faye joined them, her arms full of wild flowers. She made 3 crowns and put one on Lena's head, one on Dave's, and one on her own. They smiled, wearing the crowns as the stars came out. Dave felt a deep happiness. They decided to teach each other more about their old lives. Lena showed Dave how to paint with colored clay from the river. Faye taught him how to climb trees for honey. Dave taught them simple English songs and how to fix a broken shoe with glue. They traded skills, learning and laughing. A storm came one night, loud with thunder. The wind shook the shelter and rain poured in sheets. Dave and Faye went outside to check the walls, getting soaked. Lena made a warm fire inside. After the storm, they found that part of their garden was washed away. Dave felt sad, but Lena took his hand. We will plant again, she said. Faye nodded, determined. They worked all day to fix the damage, and soon the garden was green and growing once more. Time passed, and Dave noticed how much he relied on Lena and Faye. Their smiles made him strong. Their hugs made him feel safe. One afternoon, as they sat in the sun, Lena reached for Dave's hand. Faye did the same, her eyes gentle. Dave held their hands, his heart full of warmth. Ada spoke softly. These bonds are strong. Humans are not meant to be alone. You are doing well. One day, as Dave was gathering fruit, he heard a loud cry from Faye. He ran to find her. She was trapped on a ledge, a loose rock under her foot. Below, the ground was sharp and dangerous. Lena arrived, her face pale with fear. Together, Dave and Lena formed a chain, reaching for Faye's hand. Dave held on tight as Lena pulled, and Faye climbed up, safe. They hugged, laughing and crying at the same time. After that, they trusted each other even more. That night, as they sat by the fire, Lena told a story from her village. It was about 2 friends who became family after helping each other through danger. Faye added her own story about a brave hunter who saved her people. Dave listened, knowing that their stories were now connected. They were family too. As days passed, they made new plans for the future. Dave talked about building a bigger house. Lena dreamed of a new garden. Faye wanted to explore more of the forest. Ada supported them, giving advice and ideas. Dreams give you hope, she said. Hope makes you strong. Sometimes Dave worried about what would happen if they were ever found by humans. Would they have to leave? Would things change? Lena and Faye saw his worry. Lena hugged him and Faye squeezed his shoulder. "We stay together," Lena said. Faye nodded, her eyes bright. "Always." Dave believed them. He knew that whatever happened, they would face it together. A few nights later, a new threat appeared. Strange tracks circled their camp, bigger than before. Ada warned Dave, "Be ready, the animal may return." Dave, Lena, and Faye made a plan. They set traps around the camp, built higher walls, and kept the fire burning all night. When the animal came back, it found a strong, united group waiting. Dave shouted, Faye threw stones, and Lena banged pots together. The animal roared, but their courage held firm. Finally, it turned and ran defeated. After the danger passed, Dave hugged Lena and Faye. "We did it," he said, his voice shaking with pride. Lena smiled and Faye laughed. They had faced their fears and won. That night, as they rested by the fire, Dave knew they could handle anything as long as they were together. The planet was wild, but with Lena and Faye beside him, Dave felt truly at home. Dave woke to the soft sound of Lena singing near the river. The sun was rising, filling the camp with warm light and making the blue leaves on the trees look even brighter. Lena was gathering flowers for breakfast, her hair shining in the early sun. Faye was already busy sharpening sticks and checking the traps she had set the night before. Dave smiled as he watched them, feeling grateful for every new day they shared together on the planet. They had lived through so much. The attack from the wild animal was behind them, but the memory made them all more careful. They checked their traps and alarms every morning, working together to keep the camp safe. Dave fixed a loose board on the shelter, and Faye added another bell to the warning line around their home. Lena drew a new picture on the wall, a picture of three friends, holding hands under the strange blue trees. Ada spoke to Dave as he worked. "Your health and happiness are improving. Connection is important for humans, I know," Dave answered quietly. "Thank you, Ada. I wouldn't have made it this far without you, Lena and Faye." One afternoon, Dave decided to make something special for his friends. He wanted to thank them for helping him, for being brave, and for making him feel at home. He used some strong wood and bits of metal from the escape pod to carve two small pendants. He shaped one like a flower for Lena and one like a bird for Faye. When he was done, he gave them to the girls by the river. Lena's eyes filled with tears as she turned the flower pendant over in her hands. She hugged Dave tightly, whispering words in her own language. Faye smiled and put the bird pendant around her neck, then leaned her head against Dave's shoulder. He felt their warmth, and knew they understood how much they meant to him. As days passed, the three grew even closer. Lena and Faye learned more English, and Dave learned more of their language. They traded songs and stories, and every evening they sat by the fire, sharing what they had learned. Lena taught Dave to paint with bright clay, and Faye showed him how to track animals by their prints. Dave told them about Earth, describing forests, oceans, and cities filled with lights. Lena and Faye listened, eyes wide with wonder. Ada sometimes joined the conversation. Humans build strong relationships through sharing and trust. You are creating a family? Dave thought about Ada's words. Family. He realized that was what they had become, even if they were all different. They depended on each other for safety and comfort, but they also brought each other joy. One evening, after a long day of gathering food and fixing a broken fish trap, Dave, Lena, and Faye sat quietly by the fire. Lena touched Dave's hand and smiled. "You are good. You make us safe," she said softly. Faye nodded, adding, "We strong together. You, me, Lena, family." Dave felt his eyes sting with tears. He squeezed their hands, trying to find the right words. "I was alone before, now I am not. I'm happy you are here." Lena leaned against him, and Faye hugged his arm. The night felt peaceful and full of hope. As the days went on, they celebrated small things together. When they caught extra fish, they made a feast. Lena decorated the camp with fresh flowers, and Faye brought sweet fruit she had found deep in the forest. Ada played soft music through Dave's old datapad, and they danced in the firelight, laughing and spinning under the stars. One day, as They explored a new part of the forest. Lena slipped and cut her leg on a sharp rock. Dave rushed to help her, cleaning the wound and wrapping it with a clean cloth. Faye stayed close, holding Lena's hand and singing softly to calm her. Dave worried, but Ada guided him, telling him what to do. After a few days, Lena's leg healed, and she thanked Dave by making him a crown of bright leaves and berries. Faye had her own challenge. She wanted to make a bow and arrows to help catch food. Dave helped her, showing her how to bend the wood and tie the string tight. Faye was proud of her work and soon brought back a large bird for dinner. Lena and Dave cheered, and they cooked a special meal to celebrate Faye's success. At night, they would watch the stars together. Lena and Faye would point out shapes in the sky, making up stories about each one. Dave listened, enjoying their voices and the peaceful silence that came after. Sometimes he thought about Earth and wondered if anyone was looking for him. But he didn't feel sad anymore. He was happy where he was. Ada noticed the change. "You are doing well, Dave. You have created something special here." One morning, Dave woke to find Lena and Faye preparing a surprise. They had made a new garden near the river, filled with colorful plants and sweet-smelling flowers. "For you," Lena said shyly. "So you feel happy." Dave hugged both girls, thanking them. He realized that this strange planet had become a real home, not just a place to survive. Sometimes they talked about the future. Dave wondered if they would ever be rescued, if a ship from Earth would find them. Lena and Faye listened, holding his hands. "We stay with you," Lena said. Faye nodded. "No matter what?" One rainy afternoon, they sat inside the shelter, listening to thunder. Lena taught Dave how to play a simple game with stones, and Faye told a story about a brave hunter from her tribe. Dave laughed, feeling the warmth of their friendship. As time went by, Dave realized that his feelings for Lena and Faye had grown stronger. He cared about them deeply, not just as friends, but as something more. Lena would sit close to him, sometimes taking his hand as they walked by the river. Faye would lean against him in the evenings, her head on his shoulder. Ada saw this too. Strong bonds are forming. This is natural and good. One clear night, as they watched the stars, Lena looked at Dave and asked, "You love us?" Dave felt his heart beat fast. He looked at Lena, then at Faye, who was watching quietly. "Yes," he said softly, "I love you both." Lena smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. Faye nodded and hugged him tightly. "We love you too." The three sat together in the quiet night, holding hands and feeling safe. It was simple, but it meant everything. Ada spoke gently. "Love is powerful. It helps humans survive and thrive. You have built something beautiful." In the days that followed, Dave, Lena, and Faye became even closer. They shared everything: work, laughter, sadness, and hope. They were no longer just surviving. They were living together as a family. And as the seasons changed and the world around them grew and shifted, their bond only grew stronger, a light in the wildness of the alien world. Dave woke up before sunrise, listening to the soft breathing of Lena and Faye beside him. The gentle light from the two moons slipped into the shelter, painting pale shapes on the walls. The world was peaceful, and Dave felt safe in a way he hadn't felt since before the crash. Every day, his life with Lena and Faye grew deeper and more precious. He knew that, even if they were far from Earth, he had found a home. Dave got up quietly, not wanting to wake the others. Outside, the sky was filled with stars, slowly fading as dawn came. He walked to the river to fetch water. As he watched the sunrise, he wondered how long they had lived together on this planet. He had stopped keeping count, but he knew time had changed them all. Lena and Faye were not just his friends, they were his family. Ada's voice spoke softly in his ear. "Good morning, Dave. Your health and mood are very strong." "Good morning, Ada," Dave replied, smiling. "I never thought I'd feel this happy again. You have made a new life," Ada said. "Your bond with Lena and Faye is special." Dave carried the water back to the camp. Lena was up, stretching and yawning. She smiled at Dave and came to help him with breakfast. Faye joined them, her hair messy from sleep. They laughed together, Sharing food and stories as the new day began, they spent the morning working in the garden, picking fruit, and pulling weeds. Lena made a necklace from colorful seeds she found, and Faye built a new fish trap by the river. Dave repaired one of their old tools, feeling the joy of simple work done with loved ones. As the sun climbed higher, Ada spoke to Dave again. I have news. The signal from your pod has finally reached a human ship. There may be a rescue mission soon. Dave stood very still, his heart pounding. He had dreamed of rescue many times, but now he wasn't sure how to feel. What will happen to Lena and Faye if humans come? He asked quietly. Ada answered. Gently, I do not know, but I will help you. Dave went to Lena and Faye and told them what Ada had said. Lena listened, her eyes wide and worried. Faye was quiet, thinking hard. After a moment, Lena took Dave's hand. We stay together, she said firmly. Faye nodded. We go together. Never leave. Dave promised he would never leave them. Behind days passed, and life felt different. Dave, Lena, and Faye kept living as they always had, but a quiet worry was always with them. They finished building a new shelter, planted more fruit trees, and stored extra food, just in case. Ada gave updates every day, letting them know the rescue ship was coming closer. One afternoon, they saw a strange shape in the sky, a bright light moving fast. The rescue ship was arriving. Dave's heart raced as the ship landed in a clearing. Near the river, the ground shook and the animals ran into the forest. Lena and Faye held Dave's hands tightly. A group of humans in silver suits stepped out of the ship. They looked around, surprised to see Dave alive and well, and even more surprised to see him with Lena and Faye. At first, the rescuers were nervous, unsure what to do. They spoke to Dave, asking if he was okay, asking about the aliens. Dave explained everything. He told them how Lena and Faye had saved him, how they had lived together, worked together, and become a family. The rescue team talked quietly among themselves. They scanned Lena and Faye, making sure they were healthy and not dangerous. Lena squeezed Dave's hand, frightened by all the new people and loud voices. Faye stood close, watching everything with sharp eyes. Ada helped Dave speak with the rescuers. These are my family, Dave said simply. I will not leave without them. There were many questions. Could Lena and Faye come to the human ship? Were they safe? Dave insisted, and Ada supported him, telling the rescuers about everything the three had done to survive. After a long time, the rescuers agreed to take all three of them. Dave, Lena, and Faye packed their most important things: necklaces, a few tools, seeds from their garden, and the pendants Dave had made. The rescue team watched, surprised by how close they were. Ada spoke to Dave as they left the shelter. You have done something wonderful here. You taught humans and aliens to trust each other. They boarded the rescue ship together. Lena and Faye were nervous but excited, clinging to Dave as the ship lifted off. The world they had built faded below them, but Dave promised they would remember it always. On the ship, Dave introduced Lena and Faye to the crew. At first, some people were unsure, but Lena's gentle smile and Faye's brave eyes won them over. Ada helped translate so everyone could talk. Lena and Faye learned new words, and Dave learned how much his story meant to the other humans. People listened as he told how love and teamwork had kept them alive. When the ship reached Earth, Dave worried about what would happen next. Would people accept Lena and Faye? Ada stayed close, helping guide them through everything. Scientists wanted to study Lena and Faye, but Dave stood firm. They are not experiments, they are my family. Over time, people saw how special Lena and Faye were. They learned new things quickly and shared their own knowledge. Dave, Lena, and Faye found a small home near a forest where they could live quietly. Ada joined them, always ready to help and offer advice. They planted a new garden, sang songs by the fire, and shared stories about their time on the alien world. Sometimes other people visited, asking for advice about friendship and love between different worlds. Dave, Lena, and Faye always said the same thing: kindness, patience, and trust could build any family. Years passed, but their bond stayed. Strong, they explored Earth together, visited schools, and talked to children about living on another planet. Lena and Faye became known for their wisdom and gentle hearts. Dave was proud of them every day. One night, as the three sat outside watching the stars, Dave held their hands and smiled. "We made it home," he said quietly. Lena leaned against him, her eyes shining. "Home is here, with you." Faye nodded, her voice soft. "Always together." Ada spoke one last time. "You changed the world, Dave. You showed everyone that family can be anything, human, alien, or both." Dave closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of Lena and Faye beside him. The stars above were bright, and the world was full of hope. He knew that, whatever happened, they would face it as a family, side by side, forever.